Welcome to the December 2nd meeting of the Yarmouth Board of Health. And start off with attendance. Charlie, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, Larry.
Here.
I'm Hillard, I'm here. Mary?
Here.
And Eric?
Present.
Okay, full house, that's great. Just notice again, this is a hybrid meeting, which means that board members actually and public can really tune in from just remotely. There are a lot of instructions on the town website. You can zoom in, and there's a Yarmouth YouTube channel as well. So hopefully some people are doing that this evening. And we'll start off with the agenda here with number 1, and that's public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come forward, comments, anyone at home or wherever they are, this is opportunity to do so. Okay, don't see much happening there. So let's go. Number 2 on the agenda is Cape Cod Farms, and they're located at 252 Route 28, and this is a tobacco hearing. Okay, you want to
Sure.
make some comments?
If I could, Mr. Chairman. You have in your pack that was delivered to you a report from Bob Collette, Tobacco Control Program Manager, and it just gives a summary of an inspection that he did on November 15th at, as you mentioned, Cape Cod Farms on Route 28. And the violation is that flavored products or flavored enhancers were being available and actually were sold. Unfortunately, Bob cannot be here tonight. Now, he has sent some subsequent emails to explain exactly how this worked, and we have them for display for you. But we also have the manager, Mr. Patel of Cape Cod Farms. But this is a violation that the health department in Yarmouth did not do, but Tobacco Control Program did, forwarding that this is a violation of not only Yarmouth's code, but also the state code. And now the retailer is here to explain, and typically, as you know, this is the process where they come in to explain how the violation occurred.
Great, okay. Please come forward, just introduce yourself when you get to the mic. So, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, sir.
Okay.
So he's my uncle, and I'm working like just
Once again, so everyone can hear, your name is?
Manish.
Manish. My name is Girish.
Okay, great.
So at that day, so my uncle was not there, so I'm helping him on some days like.
Sure.
So what was the thing? The guy came, and we don't know about that. The game green sweet is not legal in the state. We don't get any letter from the court or where we can get.
State में legal है.
But in state, it's legal. We have the letter for that. So we don't know about the game green sweet is not legal to say it.
If I could just explain, you're presenting, Bob's report does not talk about green sweets. It's a different product.
Right.
Right.
And Bob said in his email, simply said that, and I can read that for you. And this came to us while Bob is on vacation. Thankfully, he was attentive enough to say, the product is unequivocally game green. I would not have identified green sweet as a violation to him. I'm sure you also received a letter from the FDA, anonymous complaint about the same retailer. Bob was very clear in identifying the product, and it's not the green sweets that's being presented here.
Okay.
Any comments about what you just heard?
So what was the thing? We don't know like it's legal or not legal. What we have is that these papers from the Swedish Match company which will sell those game green sweet. And what was the thing? I don't know, the guy who inspected got this one. He just asked me to put the pack. You can't sell that. Mm-hmm. And what we have like a game green sweet, we can sell it. And that's all I know.
So who told you you could sell the game green sweet?
Yes.
So
Who told you? Who?
So what we So we, who told us?
Uh-huh.
So we can get it from deliver from Japolis company, which will deliver all the.
The company isn't the one that decides what you can sell.
Yeah. So what was the thing? The license for this Game Green Suite we have available. If you wanna say the whole thing, so
Not
you can transfer it to
understanding this.
them.
Yeah, I'm missing some of this.
Not following.
Anyone else? No. So we're having trouble, I think, understanding everything you've said. Perhaps you could speak up a little louder and
Oh,
just
yeah.
speak a
Sure,
little
that's
slower.
all right. Yeah.
We just don't want to miss what you have to say.
So what was the thing? We don't know what we can sell. Like I just know that Game Green Suite we can sell, and which is written. We got like a Dan, who's like J-Polar's distributor. I got this from him. Like we can sell or not sell. So we don't know like what we can sell or what we not.
If I could just explain to you,
Yeah.
the gentleman that did this, he's been actually with the Tobacco Control Program in Barnstable for probably over 25 years, I believe. Bob Collette is his name. And I'm just going to, the product that he identified is Game Green.
No.
No, but
By
we
mistake,
have. I
He would
don't-
not have identified Green Sweet. This is in writing to him, and I'm just going to bring this to you.
Yeah, sure.
This is Bob Collette sending to me. Would not have identified Green Sweet.
Yeah.
And what you've brought here is a different product.
No, this just only this one. No Game Green
this
Suite.
one. Why we,
I gotta be a
and yeah.
Yeah. हमें यहाँ बेचता नहीं Game Green.
So we don't sell Game Green. We have only this one. We have below the last orders we can get from the company. So we don't sell Game Green. We only sell Game Green Suite. I don't know the guy misunderstood. We don't know about that.
And I do understand, unfortunately, Bob is not here. He not only made it very clear in his report of what was being sold, he followed that up with an email to explain, because our concern was exactly that. He would not be here. His testimony in writing is, in fact, exactly that. He did not identify the product that you have there as being sold.
We're talking about two different products, pretty sure, yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Right.
that
Two
was the-
different product, but same name, same packing, everything same.
just only the
Only just in here the sweet and the Game Green. Same packaging, same thing. The guy समझो mistake थी सर.
sometimes like if you just see the we don't have the other pack of the Game Green, which we can't sell. If you see, there's like same thing but same packaging. We can't even recognize it's there or not.
Right.
So I don't know the guy mistakenly by understand.
The gentleman's name is Bob Collette.
Yeah,
Right?
so
And he sent the report, and I'm going to actually give you the report also. This is Bob Collette's report,
yeah,
who's in charge of the Tobacco Control Program, primarily across all of the Cape.
yeah. How much are they?
I mean, just to the public to hear this, this was a letter from Bob Collette, who's responsible for the inspection, conducted that. He's saying the product was unequivocally Game Green. And he's saying I would not have identified Green Sweet as a violation to him, meaning you or whoever was in the store.
So what was the thing at that time he inspected us? If we can get the letter, like he just told me I was there at that day. Usually I'm not there. He's there. So
November 15th,
yeah, at that day I was
the
there.
inspection, November 15th.
Yeah. At that time I was there. He has some work to do, so he's not there. So he just asked me to put that thing backside. You can't sell these, so I just put it back. And if he just let me know like that you can't sell, so I just put it back. Then we got to know like we can sell that and how it's-
Maybe you could explain to the board, so, so you did see Bob, you were there, you saw Bob Collette come in?
Yeah, I see.
And maybe you could step us through that, the board would want to hear, he explained, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe you could say what exactly transpired when Bob came in to say that the product was not for sale, or you explain to me again, or the board, I should say.
Yeah.
What
So
happened?
what was he just entered, so he see all around the tobacco scenes, like what we established on the aisle. So he was just seeing that, and there he found the game green. So he just asked me to put that thing outside and put it back. That's all he did. He don't even give us a letter that you can't sell this or anything.
Okay, so
well,
you
it's
did have
confusing
it
to-
out then. You did have that product out that was.
Which one, Mary?
Game green.
You're saying which product right now?
Game Green.
Okay.
Yeah. You did have Game Green out then.
No. We
You said he found it and he told you to put it away. You couldn't sell
Yeah,
it.
we have this one at that day. We don't have the game green. We don't have the game. We have only this one.
Is that a flavored tobacco?
No flavor
No
tobacco.
flavor.
Game Green
Right,
is.
yeah,
is
right.
flavored, yeah.
So you're saying he asked you to put away that product, one that doesn't have any
No,
flavor to it?
No. I don't know about that. But somehow, if you see the packaging of the both packets were like same. So somehow we misunderstood. Like I don't know about that. He misunderstood or what he does. Like the same packaging, if you see, there's just only one thing.
I mean, did you ask him why he told you to take that away and put it?
Yeah, he just asked me to take that away. You can't sell this. That's it.
And did you want to know why he said that?
No, he just said you can't sell this. That's it.
No, why wouldn't you ask that day? Why are you telling me I can't sell a product? That's confusing to me. Why should he be able to walk in and say you can't sell this?
So at that time, I don't know I can sell it or not. But when I got to know, like I can sell it. Like he said it's banned, and after I don't know about he can sell it.
I think we can't deal with this until Bob can be with us.
I think we have
I-
to wait until
Yeah, this is,
Yeah, I agree.
and I'd like to see a package of the Game Green Sweet also.
Do they typically take photos when they conduct an inspection? I feel like we've seen photos in the past.
I don't,
We have,
Yeah.
actually.
We've actually seen products put out on the table and it's shown, displayed for us.
maybe
unfortunately,
we should
Bob's
take a
on.
picture of this to show Bob, to show him what they're telling us.
The board- I understand. I think Bob's memo, Bob's email is pretty clear. I will certainly take a picture of this to explain. But what I've given it over to yourself. You have a copy of his email as well. Bob is pretty clear in this, and not a lot of confusion. He's been doing this a long time. I'm not saying the board needs to make a decision tonight, but Bob's position, I can understand what you'd want to hear from him directly. He's on vacation till the 6th.
Well,
That's
simply
unfortunate.
because we're
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
hearing this.
I can understand that completely. And please also know that, that this, if the board is not aware, this is a $1,000 fine. First offense.
It's pretty
It's $1,000.
hefty.
Yeah, we're aware of that. That's why I think that we need to
Right.
make absolutely sure that we're dealing with this issue.
I don't know Bob's schedule. The meeting of it would be December 16th would be the next meeting. I don't know Bob's schedule, but I can certainly put an inquiry to him to say if, in fact, he would like to postpone this hearing until the 16th.
Okay.
Do you understand what we're saying right now?
Well, we should-
Sir, just wait a second. No one can hear you back there. You'd have to come up, introduce yourself, and come to the mic. Absolutely. By all means. Ye-
Yes, my name is Suresh, and is my brother. I help to him. That's the same happen. Same day when coming in the field, in the him store in the Cape Cod farm, he give it to in the letter, this town letter. That's the letter. And when I read everything, he write down in the Game Green. And when I coming the same day in the town hall, I explain to Phil, that's the not Game Green, that's the Game Green Sweet. And then Phil say, okay, you can come in the December 2nd and hearing 5 p.m. and explain to all in the town hall, all members.
Absolutely, you should be able to come in.
Yes,
It's a
that's right.
violation, and it's...
And because what happened, I don't know about Bob. When he coming over there, he found this stuff. He didn't give you any letter, no sign, nothing, anything, no picture, nothing, anything. And how do you know this is not legal?
No, they don't do this. There's actually a reason for, the board has asked that, to say,
Yes.
gee, to leave something. They don't do that. This has to be completely, these inspections are unannounced, they're unscheduled. And part of that, and it's not to catch people, it's to be able to see what exactly is going on. Are the humidors being locked? What, is there any single cigarettes? There's a whole litany of regulations that the board has carefully, which over time has gone over to work with the retailers, but also to protect the public. So that there isn't any letter that is sent there, but a report is given to the health department.
Oh, okay.
So that, and he also identified himself evidently. Sometimes they're youth compliance checks and they're completely anonymous. This wasn't a youth compliance check. This was the director of the tobacco control program came into the store. But the board is asking,
No, because I know about state is not legal in the game green, but game sweet state is legal because I have a convenience store too. Everybody, I have all kind receipt here. Every Route 28, all stores selling game green sweet.
We're not questioning that.
yeah,
You know?
they're not.
It's much simpler than that. We're just saying, here's the item that he mentioned. He runs the whole program, and needless to say, we're paying attention to it. So we'll put a hold on it until Jay can come in. That's all. Bob, rather, yeah.
Yeah.
So please understand, this
I
isn't.
understand, yeah.
Game Green and Game Green Sweet are two different products.
These two different products, yeah.
And you've identified he did take something off the shelf. But I think this will be quickly clarified for the board when he can come. And it's just unfortunate, when he's on vacation, I didn't ask him to zoom in. He's on vacation. We can have the conversation. It's very clear.
I just think we should have a picture of this product to show him,
Yeah.
because that's their position.
Because why he take it out? Because he didn't know. He thought game street is not legal. That's why he take it out himself. He didn't give you anything later. He didn't know. He didn't tell me about anything. Game green street legal. Yeah, nothing. He know game green is not legal. He know.
Who's Bob or this
No,
gentleman?
this guy. He know. A game green is not legal in the Massachusetts.
Okay.
However, Bob Collette is saying that he saw green, game green. So that's why we have to
Yeah,
put
I
this
understand.
off until Bob Collette can be
Yeah,
here.
That's perfect. Yeah, I understand.
Because frankly, we've never had an issue where Bob has been incorrect. And
I've been here for over 10 years. This has never occurred, okay? Where a store is saying there was a mix-up that way, so.
Because
We
when I
still
got
take
this
it-
letter and when I read this one, he write down in the game green. That's why I came in the right time in the town hall and I explained to everything in the field.
Is this-
Okay.
okay, so
Jay,
December
just,
16th.
Jay, let us know to make sure the date, and that he'll be coming in, and we'll make sure that you're aware that director of the program will be here, and you need to be here.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a violation. We're talking about a lot of money for you,
Yes.
actually.
I can take.
You have one? Okay.
I'd ask you if I could. I'll take a photo. I'd ask you to bring that back as well. Bring
yeah,
that
sure.
back on the 16th. Is just so I'm clear, is this your store?
No, that's the him store.
Okay, so it's
I
not
have
yours.
another store.
Okay, I just didn't. I'm trying to find the
I have in
players
the
here.
Yarmouth in the Brothers Food Mart.
Okay, all right. So it's not your store.
No, not my store.
Okay.
He's my brother. That's why I'm helping
And you're
him.
helping. And you're helping.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. We'll see you in the very near future then.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can resolve this.
Wanna take the picture? You wanna keep it one piece? Keep it. Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll confirm the 16th of December. tentatively, next meeting, see how the board is, but, okay.
And we'll have Phil reach out to you. Jesus, my microphone.
Okay, third item here is Mellow/Wilson Cranberry Bog, in parentheses, it says fresh from the vine, septic system, Title V inspection. It's listing with two property co-owners, one's Brian Wilson, one's Steve Wilson, and the most recent letter that looks like it went out, here's one to Mr. Brian Wilson from the Health Department. And the issue here is the Town of Yarmouth Health Department had ordered an inspection to be conducted for the septic system servicing the barn located at 16 Denver Drive, West Yarmouth, Massachusetts. No correspondence has been made with the Yarmouth Health Department at this time. Now, this was signed by Barry Lewis, and you want to bring us up to date on this?
Yes, I was called by Mr. Brian Wilson out to the bog earlier in September, and to show me around. There was a trailer that someone was living in, a nice RV on the trailer. He took me inside the barn. Inside the barn, there's been a bathroom constructed, not with a toilet, just with a shower, and then also with a washer and dryer hookup. My concern was, where is the shower and the washer being leached to? That's why I asked for the Title V inspection. There's nothing on record for any permanent septic systems, engineering, any kind of plans or anything like that. I'm just trying to make sure where it's leaching, how it's leaching, what kind of facility it's going to, make sure it's not going onto the bog, and it is within probably 50 feet of the cranberry bog. Just trying to figure out where it's at, just so we can move forward and hopefully get a proper system in there.
The co-owner contacted you?
Miss Brian did, yes, sir. His nephew apparently is living on the bog in the trailer.
Okay. Or is someone here? I'm Brian. Oh, great. Why don't you come up, introduce yourself, and certainly like to hear.
Also here.
I'm sorry?
My brother Steve is also here.
Well, he's certainly welcome to come up. And once again, the people at home won't be able to hear you unless you're speaking into the mic, and obviously this is a recorded meeting. So have a seat and just formally introduce yourselves so we can get started.
I'm Stephen Wilson.
Into the mic, once again, have a seat so everyone can hear you.
I'm Stephen Wilson.
Okay.
Good.
Brian Wilson.
Yeah. So,
We own the bog on 16 Denver Drive.
yeah, okay.
You know, and I have to tell you that this situation here looks very similar to the same situation I'm having with the building department that my brother
Sir,
Brian came
I
down.
am going to interrupt you right here. We're talking just about the health department, about the septic system. This isn't about building or zoning issues this evening.
What I'm getting to is that Brian has filed a complaint against me and himself on the septic system. We have had a rinse area in this barn for the past 26 years, which me and Brian constructed, and the shower area, which he helped construct as well. It's very seldom used, and there's if we do have to use that shower area, we have earth-friendly soap that we use in there. And we've been using this very, very seldom, and there's no leaching area. There is no septic system in there. It just goes out like any outdoor shower that you find all over the Cape. It's no different. It's just in a barn. It's the same thing as an outdoor shower. It just goes right out onto the ground. There's no chemicals involved. It's earth-friendly soap, and it's just a plain rinse area. That's all it is.
So when I went out there, it was a very nicely constructed shower.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it is kicked up. Yeah.
There was shampoo and soap and stuff in there.
Right,
Then
it's all
also with
earth-friendly.
the washer machine, there was detergents and stuff in there also.
Yeah, which is very seldom used. Yes. Very seldom used.
Well, I mean, for the benefit of the board as well as the public, what's the regulation on this? Just to, I think most of us know what
May I
it is.
speak now, please?
Just one second, I'm just asking him to start with.
Okay.
What's the regulation that we all should hear right now? What-
The Board of Health has a right to ask anybody for a Title V septic inspection to see where the facilities are leaching to.
Okay.
Just to protect the aquifer, protect the land and everything like that. It's under code, I had it in here, 15301, septic inspections. All systems shall be inspected when the owner or operator therefore is ordered to do so by the local approving authority. So,
Yeah, that's
Where-
quite clear. No, it was in our notes, but people
Yeah.
listening don't know this.
There it's-
Okay.
But in this case, there is no system.
Right.
but there's something. That's why I wanted to know where it was going, whether it was around the backside of the barn or it was going right into the cranberry bog where they're taking cranberries and selling them to the public. That's my concern is for and it's right.
As
right
well,
there.
we would never have that. We would never contaminate our fruit. Never in a million years we would contaminate our fruit.
So where does the outflow from the washer and dryer, or really it's the washer, go?
It's in this small closet area that we have down there that we use from time to time to clean farm clothes. And it's very seldom used, very seldom used. And we've had these rinse areas in place since we built this barn 26 years ago. And from the assessor's office, you'll see here that, this is from the assessor's office. If you'd like to see it, I could bring it up to you. That it was permitted, ID number 807. So we had the permits for whatever we did down there. And all you have to do is pull these permits up and you'll see that we were in compliance. And as far as, like you said, there is no toilet in there. We have an outhouse, a porta potty, in the event that someone has to relieve themselves, whether it be friends or guests or family.
Right.
So we use that. So nothing's contaminating the ground or the cranberry bog at all. See, what's happened is Brian's dragged the town into a family feud. And he wants the town to intercept all this and try to make it difficult for both of us. So we started this argument, not only with you, but with the Board of Health as well. And we've gone to, we've already in the proceedings of the Board of Health, where Brian started all this family feud in here and dragged the town into it. We've
Yeah,
had this installed
the
26
feud on
years.
your family is not of concern to us, it really isn't. That's your matter. Our issue here is
About
our town
contamination.
regulations being followed, that's all.
Yeah.
Now, 26 years ago, I believe it was 26, you said.
Yes.
Was that cleared to have a washer just
And the washer-
unloading into the environment?
Washer, the manager of the bog, he said that if the washer is an issue, if anyone has an issue with that washer, we'll just completely take it right out, and it'll relieve all the pressure of having a wash machine in there. But it is essential that we have a rinse area. Which
May I
is no,
speak
which
now?
is no, which is no different than an outdoor shower. It's in a barn. There's no heat. It's a barn, a storage barn. It is, you're right. You know, he did fix it up in there. It looks nice. He's got some tile on the wall, and he has a, thing to hang soap and stuff like that. So it doesn't look like a your outdoor shower that you would have in back of my house, your house. Everybody has them on the outside of the houses. It's just the same thing, but it's inside the barn.
I noticed that when I wrote my name down as being in attendance, he put down that he was an inspector,
Who did?
Who's he?
Steve. He wrote inspector on the list.
No, I'm not an inspector by any means.
That's confusing to me. I don't know if anyone else.
Oh.
Who's an
No, it's
inspector?
Oh, no, they-
it says
he asked-
system inspection.
Right, yeah. I'm not. I
What does
am
it
not.
say?
System
Yes.
inspection.
Yeah, she asked me to put down,
So who is he a engineer?
no, I'm not.
No,
Why
it's-
he's
it's-
here. It's why he's here.
He
The
he gave
system
the
inspection.
purpose.
She asked me to put down the purpose of why we're here, so I thought, this is exactly what is on
Sir,
your
it's a-
sheet here.
It says system inspection.
Right,
not
this is what's
inspector.
on your sheet.
That's all. It just says
Right.
inspection.
Of what?
So we're here to discuss, systems are required to meet Title V regulations. They're very common throughout the Cape.
No, we install septics where I work, so I'm familiar with septic systems.
Okay.
And Mr. Lewis, I showed him the shower, the washer and dryer. He inspected it, took photographs of pipes leaving from the bottom of the camper, which is a zoning bylaw. No one's supposed, it's not residential. And there's hoses coming out of the side of the barn, and the washer and dryer are not elevated, or the shower that would drain out onto the ground. They're draining into some sort of a system.
Sir, so the board understands, that's exactly why we're here to find out. The office, and again, this predates me significantly, we have no as-built record, we have no engineered plans, we don't have anything that can tell us that could locate where this system is. And on September 24th, Barry sent a letter to say, listen, we're going to give you 30 days, you need a Title V inspection. It's required to have an inspection of where this gray water, where the discharge goes. How often it's used, it doesn't factor into it. This has to have a Title V system, and haven't had that, and that has to be identified.
We just want to know if it's leaching into the ground, leaching into a pit, leaching where it's leaching. That's why I requested the Title V inspection. I just want to know where it's going. That's
You'd be more than happy to come down and we can show you. It just goes right out onto the ground, into the stone area.
To be
Not next to the cranberry bog at all. And there's no pipes coming out of,
His son is living on the property, it's not residential.
that has nothing to do with what we're talking
And he's taking a shower
about.
in there every day.
No, he's not.
And Mr. Lewis witnessed shampoo, and I don't know if Head and Shoulders is,
Well, you have to have these things. If you need to rinse off, you need to have a shampoo. If you have an outdoor shower, everyone has them. You have a brush to scrub your back, you have a shampoo, you have conditioner. It's common.
I mean, should the board be focusing on this outdoor shower or on the washer?
Both?
it's indoors, it's not outdoors.
It's in the barn. It's the same thing. It's no
I
different.
want to know where they both are leaching to, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And Barry does not do the inspection, so the board is clear. A Title
Yeah,
V,
right.
a Title V inspector does those. And that's what we've asked for. If you read the letters, and both Mr. Wilson's, we've received a letter, we're looking for an inspection report from a Title V inspector.
There is no inspection. There is no Title V inspection. There is no septic system. It
There's
just
no
runs out.
as-built, there's
An
No,
as-built,
it just runs out,
right.
just like an outdoor shower.
So I want to know, I want a certified inspector to come and tell me this.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you can certainly come by. Yep.
And I wouldn't know where it is, because I didn't install the shower or any of the wash down.
Yes, he has. He did all
Washer
that
and
with me. We
dryer.
did it together. We did all this work together.
See, this is
That's
where we're
a moot
going.
point.
This is exactly where we're going, because you're lying.
Okay, well, once again, we're not going to get involved in the conflict both of you had. All right, so do you understand that you're required to get an inspector?
Yeah.
Right. That's not Barry. Not, Barry's not going to do that. It's going to
Right.
be a certified Title V inspector that you have to obtain.
And I don't even know where I would even get one. I've
And
never-
also, I would like to have someone from the health department there also.
To witness it.
To witness the inspection?
Yes, after you do a septic system, the as-bilt's prepared, and then the town meets with the engineer to look at the as-built and make sure that the system was installed properly.
We have no system. There is no system.
Well,
There's no system. We never installed a system.
it's my understanding, I mean, the health department is there if you're installing a new one, or if it's a failed system and
It's not
essentially new
there
one's
isn't
going.
a system to
That-
fail.
That's, you're being required to get an inspection.
Yeah.
Period, for the property right
Yeah.
there, the part that we're
And,
talking
and
about.
now,
And I'm
is
sure
is there
you're
a fee
capable
involved with
of,
this?
I'm
is there
sure
a
you're
fee?
capable of finding an inspector. If not, I'm sure we can give you some names, but I'd rather you pick someone.
But is there a fee involved with this?
I would assume so, yes.
Who is responsible for having them come down? Who has to pay for this fee?
You do.
You're
Both
the
of
property
us.
owner.
Yes, the property owner.
So both of us would have to pay individual, so if, say, for instance, the fee is $100 or $200 for him to come down and inspect it, he's gonna be responsible for half, and I'm gonna be responsible for half?
Well, that's up to you.
Yeah,
That's up
that's-
to the
the
inspector, how they
inspector.
want to get paid. We don't really care about that. We need the result of the inspection is what we need. And you're required by regulations in the
So who
town.
is the one that's gonna call? So that would probably be the person that's gonna be responsible for paying. So I think that Brian should call and have an inspector
That's
come down?
between the two of you. If you're co-owners, that's not up to us. You'll have to pick that. But it looks like your first letter from the health department was September 14th of this year. So I think the health department's been very patient with you.
We'll do whatever you like.
Okay. Barry, why don't you just state what you formally need, just for the record?
I need a certified state Title V inspector to go out and see where the indoor shower and washing machine are leaching to.
Yep.
I need a full report within 30 days from date of inspection. If you want to request a health agent to be there, I'd be more than happy to go there. I cannot assist them, I cannot tell them what to look for, but I can witness them doing the inspection. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Can I just ask a question?
Of course, go ahead.
Well, two things. You have a property card that's not in our purview to analyze that, but I'm curious, is it listed on the property card that there's a shower present?
I don't
and a-
have that
and a-
information in front of
A
me.
washing machine present?
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
there isn't.
It would be in the permit. I don't have it.
There's no record of any indoor shower, rent station, washing machine being built. Not to bring in the other situation, but that's why they are in a situation with the building and zoning department right now also.
And a clarifying question, Steve had mentioned that it's a rinse station. Barry or Jay, can you clarify the difference between a shower and a rinse station, such as an outdoor shower?
An outdoor shower, rinse station would be for when you're coming off the beach to rinse the sand off of you, just so you don't track it into the house. Where a shower, you're actually using soaps, detergents, shampoos to clean yourself.
So a rinse station is not required to meet Title V,
I would say no.
but a shower, an interior shower absolutely is.
I would say
And that's
yes.
why that's being requested.
Yes, sir.
The system inspection. Thank you.
Also a washing machine.
And a washing machine.
Washing machine.
When a Title V inspector does a Title V inspection, they look to make sure wash machines, kitchen sinks are not leaching to a separate area, that they're all leaching to the proper area.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
We can assist, we can't recommend, but we can give you a list without, recommending anyone for a Title V inspector. We can certainly expedite that piece of it. But you're right, the health department has been pretty, and understanding there was a meeting that was canceled, right? There was one meeting that this would have been held back in November. It was not. But what we're really hoping to do is just to try to update our records to make sure that, in fact, as you mentioned, the as-built, the Title V and engineering plans, we have nothing. We have no information on this at all. And Barry's been working hard to try to gain compliance on that. So that's really what on time frame. It doesn't take long to schedule an inspector. And again, it's been 26 years. I'm not expert, but to simply say, show a good faith effort. If I'd ask the board if we can get a good faith effort from the owners here to get this started, because then if in fact the board deems that, and it appears that it might, there's a perk test, there's engineering work that has to be done, a system to be installed. There's a process to this, and then most homeowners that are listening are very familiar with that. That's exactly what's required for Title V system. It happens in every home here on the Cape.
That's correct, but we don't have a home, it's a barn. It's just, we wash our hands off. We're not, it's not like a residential home. It's a barn.
it does qualify, it does require a Title V system. Well, let's start with this. I don't want to presuppose. Let's not suppose what the inspector is going to find out. Let's start with, we'll give good information, because the board can, with good information, the board can make a good decision, as Barry has asked for, an inspection of a Title V inspector to come out to evaluate where the discharge, where the gray water is going.
Okay.
That's step one.
Could I ask a question?
Yes.
By all means.
If this is an indoor shower, and this is a washing machine in the barn, right?
In the barn, yes.
Prompted all of this?
We needed it in the event that we get, you're working on the
Oh,
farm.
I know what you need, whether you need it or not. What prompted the inspection? What caused this?
Brian was the one that complained about it. He complained about it, about filing a complaint against himself and me with this family feud that's going on.
Oh,
He's trying to
wonderful.
get us,
It's a corporation, it's not a
Against each
family
other.
feud.
Just
It
one at a
is.
time. We don't want to miss it.
It's a corporation, it's not a family feud.
yes, it is.
And he's pretty much told his son that he's going to eventually either inherit the bogs or, but anyway, he's living there. And he's taking a shower in the shower every 2 times a day, I don't know, once a day, once a week. He's living behind the barn. It's a zoning bylaw violation. I put in all these requests over a year ago, September of '23, and this is just getting addressed now. And there's another violation of building it without permits, that we're going in front of a judge on December 16th. It's beyond like a family feud. He refuses to sell the property for any amount of money, and the amount that I am asking for is far below what he is willing to pay me.
Okay, that's,
That's
once
neither here
again,
nor
that's
there.
between
We're
the
not-
two of you.
we're not here to
Do you
discuss
understand what we're,
Yes,
what's
there's,
required for you to provide to the health department?
I didn't install it, so he'll be responsible for any payments or fees.
No, he was
or
right along
anything
with
that
me.
is done.
He was right along with me, going back 26 years ago. So that's what I questioned you about, who's going to be responsible for paying for this?
I would like to say something. I would like an inspection done within 10 days, if that's an all right request. Whether who pays for
Could
it or
I
not.
ask a question?
Yes.
If the gentlemen say there's no system there, what are we inspecting?
Where it's leaching to.
But we're looking for a Title V inspection.
There is no.
If there is
Title V.
none there, why
Right.
are we asking for an inspection?
There's no.
I want to
Title
know
V.
where it's leaching, Larry. I want to know where the washing machine's going and whether it's there or not, I want to know. So then if it's just going out there, then we need to have this as a base to move forward to have it properly be discharged.
Could
Barry
we
and
move,
Jay.
could we move forward from that now, since they're saying there's no system there?
Right, there is no system. There never has been.
You brought up a hypothetical here, if there is no system, but we don't have that validated, just, the third party, the third party would validate that.
I see.
The next piece would go, well, then we don't have a Title V system, and the next option is to put that
Understood.
into housing court, in
Understood.
Plymouth Housing Court.
This is a basic step for any septic,
I see.
Yeah, this happens.
how we go through. And if somebody wants to add an addition or do something, getting
Even though they say there's no system in place.
I just want to know where no system is.
There is no system.
Jay.
I think we need a third party to say that
Okay.
a certified installer or a certified inspector will say, will validate, and the board will have the information to then move forward.
If the homeowner, or excuse me, the property owners were to get rid of the facility, what does that mean for the inspection? In other words, we've
Easily do
we've-
that.
In
like
other
I
words,
mentioned. We
in
can get
other-
rid of the washer, we can get rid of that shower, and we have no rinse area now. Now, so if we can't have it on the inside of the barn, is it okay to put my rinse area on the outside of the barn? Just like I have in my house, and probably everyone here has a shower on the outside of their house. Would that be okay?
They wash clothes outside also?
We don't wash clothes down there. It's very seldom used.
Sir, you keep saying it's used seldom. It doesn't, that doesn't make any difference. Someone could come here every 8 years if they have another home. Standards are the same, regulations are the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So like, so if we abandon this, and I put
Step
the
up to the
shower on the
mic.
outside,
Step up to that mic.
So, hi, I'm Chris Wilson, the manager of the farm.
my
He
son.
shouldn't be speaking at all. He doesn't own the property.
No, but I
the
do manage
manager.
it.
Okay, let me just, okay. We're very generous with people, even from the audience. If they have something relevant to say, we encourage people to speak up. So, why don't you go ahead?
I did reach out a couple of times, I think both to Jay and Barry, saying that if the washing machine was a problem, that I could just take it out. I can't see the shower being too much of an issue, but if it needs to go outside, I mean, that's more than doable. But if the washing machine is an issue, I mean, I do have the emails here stating that I did ask if that was a problem, I will take it out.
There you go, problem solved.
Well, if we were to eliminate, then there would be no need for that. That's coming. We're hearing that now. We're going to take out the shower and the washing machine, so there would be no plumbing. There wouldn't be anything there. Well, then that dismantles it all.
Right.
It has to be taken off. Well, then you don't have a Title V system for. There isn't anything.
Right.
But up until the communications that has happened over the past probably 2 months, there is a shower. My understanding, Barry, you've been there. There is a shower.
Right.
There is a washing machine. That needs a Title V system.
Right, so we'll just take that right out.
So you'll need to pull permits for the building department for that.
No, you'd need a demo permit,
For
yes, you're right.
deconstruction, yes, you do.
Yeah. No, he's right, you do. You need a demolition permit.
Having fun?
Just getting started.
I don't know that regulation, so I don't know if you can help me out or the board out,
What's that now?
what he's saying right now.
I would defer to the building department. Mark Rules can
Fine,
be very
okay.
clear. That doesn't fall in our purview. However, if it's not, it's pretty clear. We've asked since September, Barry has,
Right.
for a Title V system. As it stands today, where we stand right now, this system requires a Title V system. And we just asked for inspection. We didn't ask for an engineering plan. We said, what is it? Let's evaluate this. We haven't received that. Now a different scenario is being submitted or presented. Obviously, it's clear. If all of that goes within a title, we're not going to ask for a Title V system when there's no water running. But if there's discharge of gray water, and that would require a Title V system. And to start with is an inspection, a certified third party to tell us where the discharge is going. That's what we've asked for.
So would it be okay when he comes down there and he sees that there's actually no septic system, there's no Title V system, and he says it's just running out onto the ground like a shower in your backyard, where would that bring us then?
Since it's in conservation area, I'd have to talk to the Conservation Commission on it.
And what if we just dismantle everything right now and we put an outdoor shower?
Again, I would probably say you're going to need permits from the building department to do construction work. I'm focusing on the Title V inspection right now.
Where there is no Title V, though. There's no Title V.
Mr. Lewis saw the property, and he could clearly see it's not just draining outside.
I could not see where it was draining. That's
You couldn't see.
why I asked.
And there's hoses connected to the camper.
That's not true.
He's living on the bog.
There is no
not shown.
hoses, absolutely no hoses connected to the camper going into the ground. There's no need to have any of that because we have a porta potty that we use. And if you need to rinse your hands off, we have a sink in the barn. If you need to get dirty, we were using the shower, clean off. Like you were coming home from the beach.
Gray water needs to be accounted for anyway, whether it's going into the ground or not, whether it's out of a mobile truck, out of a wash station. Gray water needs to be accounted for.
So we'll just dismantle, and that'll be the end of it. There's no Title V. There isn't a Title V there, never has been.
I make a motion.
Needs to be
Hold on
inspected.
one second.
I'd
We
like
have
to make a
here.
motion that the gentleman before us arrange for Title V inspection within 10 days, and that will at least tell us exactly what's happening to the gray water from the shower as well as the washing machine when it is used. And at that point, we can go forward with recommendations as to what needs to happen.
Second.
Further discussion, questions?
Could I request 20 days to bring us past the hearing of the 16th?
It's been 2 months. I'd say 10 days is fair.
You want to put
Been
a
over a
timeline?
year.
10 days, I said
Yeah,
10
yeah.
days. Yeah, I
Okay,
said 10
everybody
days. Yeah,
with it? Okay, any other discussion on it? Because we've been on this for a while now.
from the board, not from the audience on a motion.
Yep, okay. All in favor of the motion, just raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's 3. Any nays? Charlie?
He said aye.
He said aye.
Nay or aye?
He said aye.
Aye, okay, so it's 4-1. The motion,
Can I just hear, it's 10 days for an inspection?
Right, to get the inspection results, so we know exactly what's happening to the gray water from the shower as well as the washing machine when it's in use.
The only issue I have with that, of course, we're going back and forth with this, is
What's there to examine?
yeah, there is nothing to examine, sir. There's no Title V there, but they want to have them come down and look at it. But my issue is, who is going to pay for this?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for it?
That's not
That's not our
the
issue.
board's concern.
He's not going to pay for it, and I'm not going to pay for it, so what do we do?
What
How
happens
do
if
we get an
if we
inspection?
don't get a Title V in 10 days?
So can I make a comment, or is it done? Is this done, or?
well, the motion's passed.
The motion
But
passed.
I'm certainly open
So
for
if these
comment.
gentlemen went in and dismantled it, eliminated it,
Yes.
what,
Because they're still
Where would it
talking
go
about
from
having
there?
an outside shower, and an outside shower uses detergent, or not detergent, but soap, shampoo, so, and it's next to a conservation area, so we still have some concerns from the Board of Health's perspective in terms of the,
so how would it be different from an average outdoor shower that any
Wouldn't-
person would have? Is there a permit
it would-
required for an
but it's
outdoor
not-
shower?
I don't think I don't know, but the outdoor showers that people have outside their homes,
I'd be happy to do that.
are they next to conservation areas?
Within 50 feet of a bog.
Every home on Bass River. You're gonna ask them for a building permit?
So Mary, you're telling me that my outside shower needs a Title V inspection?
No. Are you next to a conservation area?
I don't know. It's on the other side of the bike path.
No. No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think we're done.
Yep.
Can we just, within 10 days, a Title V inspection
Right.
will be conducted, and the inspector, if I ask that the inspector let us know that that's going on, whoever you decide to get, that'd be great.
But how are we going to get that done in 10 days? I don't even know anybody, and we don't have a Title V
He
there.
said he'd give you a list. You can't recommend someone, but you can have a list of names, and you can choose who to call.
Who's going to pay for this?
You're the property owner, co-owner.
We both are.
Yeah,
So who's going to be responsible?
you have to settle that, but you have town government
What if we
requiring
don't? What if we
something.
don't get the Title V and we just dismantle everything? The Title V inspection, we just dismantle it in the 10 days? And it's done, it's all gone.
What if they do nothing?
It's
It
been
just
a
goes to
year
housing
already,
court,
though,
correct?
that it's been
Yeah,
installed.
what if we don't, I can't afford to get
It has to
an
be checked.
inspection.
This has been going on for months.
We just can't afford it.
What's that?
We can't, I can't afford it. Maybe he can. I can't.
These are all violations that have been going on with the building department.
All brought
the
in
zoning.
by him. All complaints made by
It's
my
not
brother.
residential, he's living there in a camper.
complaints
which
made by my
Which is
brother.
not allowed in the
All right,
town.
we're getting off,
Decision
again,
is-
we're getting off.
Okay, decision has been made, okay? This is over. Okay?
Good.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Okay, let's move on to the next item then.
I would like to request that
Thank you.
we talk about the minutes first before we go into the green burial discussion?
Is there anything else that you need from us?
Sure.
I don't,
Okay.
I don't think.
Yeah. No.
Need anything for the, no.
Okay.
Things have changed, huh? Good.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Mary, that's fine. You want to go
Okay.
over minutes?
Now, So I have several things I'd like to discuss that impinge on the green burial discussion from the minutes. And so I didn't want to just call and ask for corrections because I'd like for it to be part of a discussion.
Okay.
On page 3 of the minutes, under green burial discussion policy/regulations, I
Where
was
are we now,
chairing that
Mary?
meeting. Yes,
Where are we?
on page 3 of the minutes,
Of the
the last meeting, November
okay.
4th.
Yep.
I do not remember Jay saying that the policy was the responsibility of the board. I do remember saying that I asked for the health department staff to draft a policy for us to consider at this meeting. So those two comments about that. The board did come up with several additional additions or considerations to the draft list that Jay supplied us with considerations for any kind of policy. And I grabbed my notes from that, but somehow don't have them in front of me, but I can get that to you. I also requested the staff to research if there were any exceptions or variances allowed regarding Zone 2. And that's not captured in the minutes, and it's not on our agenda for tonight. So I need to know if you feel that the responsibility for drafting a policy is the board's rather than the department's, because if that's the case, this is different from the procedure that we've followed in the past. Now, I know when we did some revisions to the poultry regulations, Barry and Larry worked together on it, and that's because they're both subject experts. That made sense. But in the past, we've had a draft after discussion, and there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of materials in front of us. The health director has presented for us draft policy that we then discuss and say, yes, that captures what we remember saying, agreeing on, or now we're agreeing on it because it's all together.
Mary, it makes imminent sense what you're saying. What I feel is we need some direction as to, what I had presented was 13 questions, you add several more, to shape this in some way.
Right.
I could come up, Barry and I could sit, or I've talked to, I'm very familiar now with burial regulations across the Cape. Okay, it's a 2-acre minimum, it's going to be 30-foot setbacks, I'm going to come up with all these things as opposed to if the board could give us some directions on these as to what give us some shape as to, because that could go on for 6 months of where it isn't allowed in the front yard, it isn't, the board, the policy direction, and from that, working with town council, we will clearly put together a policy. However, starting from scratch, it then becomes my policy, and it is the board's policy. I'm not pushing this back on you, just to give some direction as to what I was hoping it was to actually get an email back with, hey, listen, this is what we're thinking. It should be a certain acreage size. It's not allowed in zone. These are just hypotheticals. Give us some direction so that we could then do that, because otherwise I'm wasting a lot of town council time and putting something together that, quite frankly, could have 6, 8 iterations. That's all.
From all of the materials we've been given, there are some very specific things that have to be addressed in the policy that the state has provided the guidelines for. So, I mean, those are givens.
Well, actually, Mary, each of these questions, none of them are defined. a minimum size of a lot. If I went down, is DPW, is that required? It isn't, but we thought the board, I actually reached out to the water superintendent, and they said, and I actually met with the DPW director, and then unequivocally he said, absolutely not in Zone 2, and there's just not a lot of research. I think, Hillard, you had said, geez, we're not getting the information. As Jeff Colby, and the water consultant, had said, there's not a lot of information on this. I wasn't pushing this back across the
No,
desk to you.
But Zone 2, is it possible to get an exception or a variance? No. See,
No.
that couldn't be answered at the last meeting. That's why I wanted to find that out.
Right.
That makes a huge difference, particularly for the poor gentleman that's been before us several times.
I couldn't agree more. This was a new policy, to put a policy in place. And again, we went across the Cape, and I think I included all of you on this. Brewster is the only community, and I mentioned this, that allows this. We actually reached out to the building, the cemetery director, and he said in the 1960s, they made the decision not to allow this. And the ask was, why? Why don't you allow green burials? Just out of imminent precaution for our water supply here on the Cape.
Who said that?
That's
Bill Bullock is our town cemetery supervisor.
Okay. And he said the town made that
In
decision?
1960s, made the decision not to allow green burials in the town cemeteries.
Is
to
that
protect-
something like what Roby came forward with? There's no documentation of that. There's no record of that, probably.
There might be, I'm not for sure, but that's when I called him, he said that he's been doing his own research because he's gotten questions also. And when I called him, that was his answer, strictly to protect the town aquifer, the town water supply.
Once again, I keep saying this, it's 60 years ago, okay? Things change. I mean, we got to bring things up to date. I'm not saying we can have green burials in Yarmouth, that there's any space for it, location for it. We don't know that yet. It's true. I think for making a regulation, there's some basics to it, and that is structure. It's very often it's cutting and pasting from state regs to start creating something, and then fill in some details, which are important. If it's distances, yeah, we got to fill in the distance what we want in our town. But I think we need some structure put together of regulation. At least that's by history what's happened here.
Sure. So of that, my feeling is there's going to be a lot of holes. I thought there would be a discussion here as to the board would then say, what are the setbacks? Define the area of non-disturbance. Well, a 4x8 is a burial lot. Well, we would want something
And
else.
that's what you do. That's what you do. You
No.
propose that in the policy that you bring to us.
No, you didn't hear my, area of non-disturbance, that's a 4x8, that's a burial lot. But what is the area of non-disturbance? You're not going to be able to dig right up to a green burial. It's going to be a 10x12, it's going to be, I didn't know what the board's feeling was on that. Would this be allowed in the front yard? I'd say, well, yeah, sure, of course. The board said, no, we're not going to put this in the front yard. We'd allow boats in the front yard. We're not going to have a grave in the front. It was to have a discussion for the board without anyone presenting things, and to go down this list and to say, what are the thoughts here? From that discussion that has never happened, the questions have been asked, but the board has never had that discussion of, well, this is what I think. To hear each of you, from that, I can clearly write something, but I don't know, I don't have one answer to those 15 questions.
Jay, I disagree. I think we need, in that paragraph just says location. It's our responsibility to give some specifics then. We would have as a board, but it's very hard. You have 5 people to start filling in the details. It's helpful to have a guideline of having paragraphs and having titles and having whatever has to be underlined or bold of what has to be filled in. And a lot of it, having looked into it, the state has a lot of things they can offer. Online, you can find some things. But yes, we would have to fill in some of the blanks, of details.
Sure. Well, let me ask you this, and this is a great discussion. I was really hoping when I put a lot of time together on this. One of the things, communicable diseases, things of that, didn't even make the list, but
We added it when we discussed
Well,
that.
I actually, if you remember, if you watch the tape, I had said one of the things that wasn't on here was communicable disease. If I said, listen, we're going to write this up, it's not allowed in Zone 2, or it's not allowed at all. It's very difficult for the board to go against the water superintendent and the cemetery director.
We can set our own opinion, which may differ. Whoever has ultimate control over it, yes, it's up to them. Well, I'm sure tired of me saying this for a couple of months now. How are you saying this? What is it based upon, their opinion? Is there some science? I still have not heard back from a consultant after all these months. That's crazy, and that's from who's telling us we can't do something. They may be perfectly right. Looking into this, the science may be there saying it's prohibitive. I'm not sure that's the case or not. I can tell you there are people who are buried in cemeteries that die from infectious diseases, have had radioactive isotopes in them for cancer treatments. There have been a lot of people buried for post-chemotherapy. People are put in coffins or caskets that are not biodegradable and ones that are biodegradable. Someone who's put in the ground with a plain pine coffin, that wood disintegrates within 5 years or probably less. So there is some information, things that make sense. And I think the place to start is having some actual structure to work on a regulation. I mean, that's by history what we've done.
I never, if that was the case, I have to tell you, when I presented this, if you said, listen, we don't want questions. We don't want, this was an opportunity for the board to have input on something that I'm going to write, or Barry and I will write, and with town council, to be authors in this, that you would be part of that, and then it can be assembled with information. I can go ahead and do that, but
Phil had said, we will be part of that, but first, we need the structure, we need what the state is saying. Then what you cannot fill in, then you tell us.
Could I
You
ask-
can fill in now that there's no exception to a Zone 2.
right.
So if you want to have a green burial in a Zone 2, no. So we know that's a given now, but those are the kinds of things that might need to be filled in for us specifically, like 60 years ago, is there any record of what the town said? I mean, so we are knowledgeable about what has gone on and what someone might bring up. I'd rather be a little proactive about it and have some more information on that background.
Barry, it's a great question, but you just used an important word, proactive. Can I have answers to these questions now? Because you're going to do it after the fact, after I write it, right? You're going to go in and say, well, we'll fill that in. How about we fill it in now? How about we fill those things in now? Because you're going to do it after the fact, right? It isn't like I'm going to write this and it's going to be my regulation. It's going to be your regulation. But with good information, I can write something that speaks to exactly what each of you want. Like, you're going to have the conversation. Let's have the conversation. You want to have the conversation now? Wouldn't that be helpful?
Was there a list in the packet of what you're referring to?
You had.
You have that list, Jay, where is that?
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it in my packet last week,
no,
last meeting, but I did hear Jay, and I wrote them down, and then I wrote down the additions that we made to them. But
You were provided,
Not this meeting,
at the last meeting, you were provided that packet.
I didn't get it in my packet.
probably the one before it, the
Mine,
meeting
and
before
certainly
it.
for tonight, it's not either. So this list that you're
It wasn't in
referring to,
tonight's.
I'm not sure about. I wasn't at the last meeting.
I have last meetings. I'm wondering what, I still have last meeting here.
I didn't have it in my packet, I'm telling you.
one. The last.
The last one, I didn't have it in my packet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might have been 2 meetings ago.
Okay.
No, it was the last meeting, because that's when we discussed it.
I don't seem to have that in my last meeting. I don't know why, but
I mean, 13, for instance, who is responsible for witnessing the burial? That's something I would have remembered. I mean, that's something very specific. Well, regardless.
well,
Right,
let's
that was
just-
one of the ones-
Let's just take this and,
list?
sure.
Want to check down the list now? Or not, my point being is this. I hear loud and clear. This is a great conversation, filling in the blanks, but if I can fill in those blanks before I craft it, that would be helpful, right? Does that seem to make sense? Okay, you're going to have that discussion, wouldn't you have it now? Or I'd say at the next meeting, before this gets, otherwise, well, no, we're going to adjust it. Well, town council is going to be involved in this, and those are billable hours.
Okay. Which I've said before, this has been going on for a long time. I haven't experienced that here on the Board of Health, that regulations, writing them has taken so long or putting this together. So there's a bottleneck somewhere. We haven't moved forward on this. That's how I feel. My advice is I wouldn't start bringing town council into this right now. Generally, we've had them look at the end of it. It'll save a lot of hours. It's very expensive for the people paying taxes here. So I don't think we need town council involved right now. Certainly for the final draft, for sure. Green burials are allowed in the state.
We're one of 3 states, absolutely.
Yeah, so we need to have a regulation now that we have an applicant, we have someone. So we have to have it enforced, and it may be this gentleman who, it may not be granted, needless to say. It'll depend upon some decisions that, yes, the board will have to make with some advice, like distances, for instance, or Zone 2 distances are probably going to be a key one.
Does it make sense, am I, please, I'll yield to the board. Does it make sense to to have that information so that we're putting something together? Because you say, well, we'll put it together and then we'll answer them. But wouldn't we answer them and then I put it together?
You're going to be able to put a lot together without our input. And then there will be some things that you'll want us to have input on.
Mary, there's 15 of them. There's 15 things. You mentioned the glossary. That was a great.
Because we added some to you.
No, there's 13 there, and you added like 3 others. And I get that. Wouldn't we do that now? Wouldn't you do that now?
I mean, it's okay with me if it is for other people. We go down the list. I need a copy of them, or we need
Right,
to, you
we
want
need
to
a
state them?
copy of the list.
Eric, how far did you get when you started? I know you had a pretty good outline that you gave us. And what happened with that?
Well, this is the considerations that Jay had in
Right.
2 meetings
No, I
ago
know.
that we discussed
Right.
last meeting, or the meeting before this one, and we added some too.
Right.
That's what Jay wants the answers to.
Because some of them are just very generic. What's the purpose of a regulation for this one? It has to be about home burials and about green burials. I mean, there's some very generic things that are applied to any regulation, tobacco, whatever it is.
And there's a specific format. Definitions is one of the things that Eric asked to be added to the considerations.
There'd be a glossary. No question about that. These, I thought.
That can be done. I mean, we don't need us to do that.
No, by all means, this is not a contentious discussion. It was to say, this was to help us. What I put forward was to say, this will help us put a better product together so the board may say, yeah, you have input before it's being done. That's how regulations get that. You do this with tobacco. You've done this in my short tenure. You did this with body art. You've done this with the body piercing. You had input to say, okay, well, this is one of the things that I think. Then it was written. Absolutely. I thought we're going to follow that model. And if we're not, I have no problem with that. And we'll do that after the fact. It seems a little disjointed to me, but that's just my opinion.
Would it be possible for, with Mary's suggestion, would that be something Barry and I could get together and put together?
I would want to be part of that.
Okay, well, you as well. I mean, then we could just put something together that could bring back to the board. Is that something that?
I put it to everyone on the board. I just thought in fact, and again,
There's some questions that I would have trouble answering that are listed here as far as specifics go.
And I have trouble as well. I don't sit on the board. I'm on the staff side of things. I've been a chairman of a board. I've been a chairman in a community. So I understand that. I thought this would be helpful to help us craft something that reflected the board's intent.
Sure.
That's all.
Some of these items seem, if we do come up with answers, would seem arbitrary.
Right.
Not anything specific toward what you wrote here, but just the fact that there aren't answers, and I don't think there are some answers that are listed here that we could,
Thank you, Larry. I had a long meeting.
Refer to.
I had a long meeting with the DPW director, and he said, I'm going to tell you, I've been trying to research this. There's not a lot of information or research on this, exactly from Jeff Colby's mouth. That's exactly it.
Okay, but
so if we just made a proposal, I'd be glad to help out with that.
I'd so
And then
appreciate
bring
that.
it back, and then obviously, we're going to have to find some arbitration when we make these rules.
My intent, clearly was my intent to say we need to start shaping this somewhat. What is the thought of the board, the policy decision makers? It's a 2-acre minimum. Oh, no, it's a 0.5 acre minimum. I don't know.
But we need
that would
some
help.
kind of, if we're going to say a 2-acre minimum, we have to have some basis for saying that.
Right.
You can't just pull it out of the air. Or even if we say a 1/4 acre, you know,
And it's going to
personally,
depend on the boundaries and what it's located near and how the lot is, is it like rectangular or, there's just a
Well,
lot of things that,
personally, I don't think we're dealing with toxic waste here. I think the biggest issue is going to be neighbors coming into a community and, in a neighborhood, and somebody decides they want a green burial. That's an issue that really could be contentious in a neighborhood. So I think that's something we need to address, but
well,
it's,
in number 12, he did put down, isn't a butter notification required? How? And certified, I've never heard of certifying in a butter
No,
notification.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, we haven't had that come across, I
Here,
don't think.
My comment was certified letter, so that
Oh,
they,
certified
so we know,
letter.
so they, again, this was a list to say,
Right.
you certify a letter to make sure, yes, in fact.
It's reasonable.
Those are discussions. Those are things that paragraph might not have been included unless I get the board's input on this. That was my intent here, to get the board's input so we have something comprehensive, at least a starting point. That's what I was hoping for.
yeah, I think it makes better use of our time if we're all going down the list together.
Okay.
And
but
to try to
you're saying we have to formulate a list. So we
Well,
have to-
we've got
Here's one to start.
questions
No,
that he.
Jay took the time, and we can start.
So will green burials, home burials be allowed in Zone 2? No. No, we know that.
Okay.
Is
You
an
want this
approved,
back? You need this? Thank you.
is an
Sure.
approval sign-off from DPW required? Sounds like it is to
Yes,
me.
I think according to the state, it would be. I
Right.
believe.
Didn't we get sort of an equivocal response from them when they were consulted before, or did they have a definite?
That was not, it was somewhat arbitrary and somewhat, you should be checking with the water supplier is the word they use, the water supplier in the town.
Sounded like they were passing the buck. from-
Well, I'll hold my comment on that.
Right, it was going back to our water department here. All right.
But even the water department, they made a statement, they didn't really have any basis for that. It seemed like it was just their gut feeling that this shouldn't be allowed.
Right, and that doesn't, I'll speak for myself, not for the board, that doesn't meet standards to have someone give you an opinion if it's not based upon some science here, which may come down to, you're talking about waste, toxic waste.
Well, it's
Is
not
there any
toxic.
concern? Yeah, is there any concern of that? The people who are buried with all kinds of diseases, okay? And all kinds of treatment modalities.
Well, the difference there, though, Doc, is that they're in an enclosed situation when they're buried. They're not, it's not a green burial.
Correct, but once again, depends upon what they're encased in. In other words,
Right.
whether it's mahogany or it's pine makes a big difference for years. If they're in a metal casket, it could last 140 years, probably more. If someone's wrapped in in wicker, or if they're...
But they're
there are-
embalmed.
there are-
Aren't they embalmed?
There's a lot of that, and we think about it, is that leaking into our water
Well,
systems or
not
not?
only that, that's going to kill most organisms that we're concerned about. It's going to prevent decay and that sort of thing, so.
I don't know the toxicity of what they use for it.
It's toxic.
Formaldehyde is-
Formaldehyde's toxic.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Right.
Um,
But that's an encased situation, I think. I think they're in
but Larry-
sealed cases.
Yeah, but someone in a traditional cemetery may be buried in a coffin that will disintegrate in 3 years, and whatever's in there will disintegrate and go into the environment.
Would that fall under the rules of the cemetery? I mean, is that part of our when we make these conclusions, is that going to be part of our determination, or is that something that's totally separate from this issue? In other words, you're talking from a cemetery situation, right? You're not talking about a green burial.
No, our regulations, we were talking about home burials and green burials is
Right.
really what it is.
Right.
So in some ways, it's separate. All I'm saying is in traditional cemeteries, a lot of what remains is sort of is in the environment in a couple of years.
That's not the issue we're dealing with.
I'm just saying not to ignore the fact that it's happening anyway in formal cemeteries and not just in backyards. For home burials, we could decide maybe a biodegradable coffin is a requirement. That's up to us.
You could be more lenient than we think we can.
I agree with you. Strongly.
I just think it might be more of a neighbor issue than anything else. But
Right.
again, we still should go through this list.
Let's do it, because as I said, we're dragging it out. Let's see if we can facilitate
Is a
things.
buffer zone required from the boundary of Zone 2 and wetlands?
So this is, now, it's not in Zone 2, or is it,
Right.
but.
Is there a
distance-
buffer zone required
Distance to
from?
Zone 2.
Right, or wetlands?
Or, thank you, wetlands. What do you thought, what's,
I
what do you
think
thought?
that there are strict regulations on wetlands already in place that we probably could just copy. In other words.
Conservation
for example-
Commission.
Pardon?
From the Conservation Commission.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they would give us pretty good idea. I know, like there were strict regulations with cranberry bogs as we were just dealing with. And I think that that would apply as, just this issue we just had here, would apply sort of to the same circumstances.
It would, because I put a shed up in my backyard, and I had to go to the Wetlands
Right.
Conservation Commission
Right.
to get permission,
Right.
and show that
Exactly.
I had the variance that they
Right.
required.
So I think that would be an issue. We'd have to have an approval from the Conservation Commission. Would that how you would?
You mean for our numbers, what we
For the
want to
number,
put in?
right, for what the,
So that would be a blank in
Okay.
the regulation. It's a blank, and we're gonna have,
Conservation,
we're
right.
gonna have to figure out, is it 200 feet or whatever it is?
Well, we wouldn't have to figure that if
No,
we
they-
said,
just ask them,
We're going to lift that, we're going to cut and paste that from the Conservation Commission.
right,
And
right.
that'll be written.
Yep, absolutely. No, Brittany
Okay.
can tell me that.
Is there a minimum property size required for a home burial? That's kind of going to depend, too, on
There's a
the
DPW
conservation and
involved.
Say that again?
that will depend also on the, any
they're not.
required
no-
boundaries or buffer zones.
That's a bunch of shit.
You might have a small piece of property
We
that doesn't
had that
allow you the
conversation.
buffer zone for,
They didn't.
Or
think
doesn't
they
allow you
wanted to be
setbacks.
involved.
yeah.
So it would come down to, well, here's the requirement, I guess someone could apply and ask for a variance, and it would be the board can either grant it or not. I mean, that's traditionally what's happening, like with Title V systems. We have distances, they're in the regulations. Yes, we give variances under certain circumstances.
So then you think there would be no minimum property size required?
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just thinking.
No, I'm just
yeah,
asking.
Right,
Just trying to think it out loud.
Yeah, it seems as if the property were small enough, the setbacks would be the hurdle
Right,
that they would encounter first.
right.
Like from the neighbor or from the house or from the swimming pool or,
Right.
you know,
So then
whatever.
that would take care of it itself.
So how would you word that?
I would think in most
Yeah.
cases.
I know.
How would you word it?
Setbacks from property lines.
Yeah.
Well, property lines, house, swimming pool,
Septic.
septic, you have to include all those.
All those,
And then we'd have to give them setbacks
I
that
said-
we have some basis to give them.
Larry, that's number 8. Distance is required from dwelling, septic system, garage, pool, shed.
Right.
Those are some of the, I originally was just boundary setbacks.
I
And
th-
Hilda, you brought up a good point about the septic system. Can't be up against someone's property line, because on the other side, you've got, all those considerations have to be given in.
Then I think what we'd say is the property size required for home burial depends on meeting the requirements for setbacks in the property, on the property, you know, and are the various setbacks required for, and we could say septic system, garage, shed, pool, et cetera. Because it really, that, like you said, Eric, that's going to dictate whether or not they can do it.
Yeah, Eric, that's a great point. That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So we're not here thinking, well, it's got to be a quarter acre or half acre or whatever. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So take out the property size and just use setbacks.
I'm sorry?
So take out the property size and just use setbacks.
Right, exactly, yep. The property just has to be large enough to allow the required setbacks, instead of an actual number size. Is there, what is the allowable location of the plot on the property, front, side, back? I think it
Can't
should be.
imagine anyone wishing to do that in the front yard.
They used
But
to,
if you
but-
have a really large piece of property, I
Mr.
suppose
Mercati, that's where he wanted his.
suppose
I
it
don't
could
think that
happen.
should be an issue for the Board of Health.
Well, it is. He's saying that, Jay's thinking it's a consideration, and I agree, because, it could very well become an issue.
With who? With what?
Butters?
Well, that's the issue with the
And why would
abutters.
we want them to even get that far and, find out that, oh, we don't allow that anyway, or
But
that
that would be an arbitrary ruling, though, I would think.
Barry?
Mr. McCurdy wanted his in his front yard.
he did want in the front yard, but he came to us with it in the backyard.
No, it's in the front right corner of his property where he had won it.
I thought
I
it
think if
showed
it
it in the
meets
back.
setbacks and community, neighbors, that it shouldn't be an issue.
If the neighbors are okay with
Right.
it, I agree. And what determines what the...
why would you have a problem with the front yard?
Why
That would be
can't they
just
allow
sort
boats in the
of-
front yard?
Pardon?
Why can't you allow boats or trailers in your front yard? I don't know.
Well, but it's in the ground. We're not talking about a headstone or
No,
anything.
true.
That's
It's
another-
just a-
That'll be,
Coming up, that's
on
another
markers,
question.
or what are we going to put down a height, or what you can do,
think
for
they
sure.
should.
Right.
And that's relevant.
Yeah, my suggestion in this situation, in a green burial, in a home, would be a flat marker.
Right, right.
Right,
And,
you
and the setbacks might dictate anyway that
Right.
maybe it couldn't be done in the backyard, but the front yard is,
Right.
some people have
And if
have
it's a
more
flat
property in the front
marker,
than the
like a
back.
piece of flagstone or something like that, it wouldn't even be an issue.
So then let's say it can be either place, anywhere in the yard that meets the setback requirements.
This is all very helpful to me, Larry. I do want to say.
Is that
one-
okay? Does that sound all right? Anywhere in the yard that meets the setback requirements.
The one thing that town council did in my response, to say, listen, I've been trying to shape this. He says, I'm glad to help you with this. He said, be very careful with markers. That's a Second Amendment right. People get to mark it the way they want.
Well,
So I'm not being contrary, I'm just saying, you said a flat marker.
Well, if
I don't
they-
know that you can say that.
well, we'll try to. I think we should try to.
That's the one response back from town council was exactly that, Second Amendment.
Maybe he can tell us again then.
What's the Second Amendment? I thought that was.
Freedom of
guns.
speech.
That's something to do with
Right to
guns.
free speech.
Right to free speech.
You can holler it from a
I
headstone
thought that
or
was the First Amendment.
versus whispering it on a little footstone.
I thought the Second Amendment was right to bear arms.
Maybe I'm incorrect. It was freedom of
Right.
speech. is
Freedom
what
of
it's called.
speech, right,
Yep.
one.
You have to, he said, be very careful dictating that.
Individual plot or family plot?
That means how many bodies
Right.
Right.
Understand.
on the property.
Yep.
For sure.
Again, if you've got a huge property,
Yeah, I think it definitely would be a cause for like a variance, that maybe we would have to have some sort of a variance, I think, in that
make sure
situation.
that they could,
For more than
Okay.
one.
all right, so
It's understandable.
individual,
It's understandable that you could have legacy properties where it could
Right.
become a family.
But it
could
It could escalate,
Right.
upwardly adjust,
Right.
right?
But
Okay.
We'd be thinking more like you'd want acreage
Right.
rather than.
right. Our property line
do
setbacks
it, just
required,
one-
yes.
It also, I think we'd have to put in something of who can be buried there. In other words, just because your neighbor wants to be buried there. I mean, we may want to set some standards there, family.
Right. Yep.
Old
Owners.
girlfriend.
After
Landowners,
sixth grade.
Good girlfriend.
landowner.
Okay. Should someone be able to have their best friend buried in their backyard?
No, family.
Okay.
Family?
Relative, okay.
Okay, people okay with that?
What about a spouse?
That's
Yeah,
family.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So
What
it
about
wouldn't be-
significant others, not formally married? How do we handle that? Two people who've been living together forever, whatever.
A variance, come to us and talk about
I
it.
think we got to leave that question open.
Yes, exactly. That can
Yeah.
be a variance. We can
Yeah.
talk about it. Yep.
Because, you know, if somebody, yeah, I don't think that could be such a broad issue.
Yeah, okay, so are property line setbacks required? Yes, I would
so.
think so, but what are they going to be?
I get this, maybe some latitude here. I can check with the building department and see what some of their setbacks are. Garage, 10 feet, things of that nature from
Property
from
lines.
property lines.
Okay, good.
It may give you a starting point. If I
Okay.
go into the building code and they may be able to, I'm not feeding you the answer, I'm just saying it's something to consider. Why did they have that, so?
I can also get information on septic system setbacks also for
Right,
us.
which is the next one, required distance from dwelling, septic system, garage, shed, or pool.
So my question in that case, why would septic systems even be an issue? It's a septic system.
Well, it's a question, you know,
Right.
it's a
But do we
question.
even need to include septic systems?
I think I mean, just from the standpoint of execution, I mean, at the time of burial, you'd want to be sure that you're not disrupting other things in the
Leachy field,
yard.
you
I mean, yeah, I mean, you should know that regardless, but,
Right, well, we should have it so you can't interfere with the
right.
septic system or the leaching field or
But I
anything
think the
like that.
setback would be helpful in deterring a burial, you know, in close proximity.
When a septic system fails and the burial's right next to it,
And they have
and they have to put a
to
new
do it.
system in.
Yeah.
So I think some setbacks are relevant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we would just have to come up with a number. So here, have a blank, or unless we want to make a decision on feet right now.
Don't have to. You're going to want something, we can go into Title V and look at some of that. There is that. There's also reserve areas, things of that nature, if an area is identified as a reserve. Board, I'm going to tell you, you may never get this again. You may never in your time on this board
Well,
see
but
one
we
of those,
wanna
but we're going to
take care of
have,
people that are coming
exactly.
after
We're
us.
going to have, and the variance is going to be an
Well, I
important
hope we
piece.
do after all this.
But the variance is going to be an important part of it as well.
Right.
But, so you have to have some latitude.
Mess with your shit, huh?
garage shed, I don't see the difference in, I don't see any reason to worry about that. The pool.
What is that now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to be,
It's not under the shed or under the garage, right?
or just put it under the shed and don't bother
Oh,
with
yeah.
us.
Oh, yeah.
No variance needed. So you look like you're,
No, I just wanted,
Shed?
yeah, what was it, garage,
Shed,
there
I
are
don't think
setbacks
that
for different.
matters.
They don't, okay, all right.
Do you? I don't
Not
think
to
that
me.
matters.
So the only set,
make any difference?
The pool, I don't know. Does that, I don't have a pool, so it
Now,
doesn't
the pool would definitely, I think,
there are setbacks for a
be
septic
some
system
kind of
to a pool.
setback.
There are
Okay.
water lines underneath, I mean, they're running heat out there, somehow to heat a pool. I mean, it may you want to know where some of these things are. Pools leak.
The front yard's looking better and better.
Yeah, it is.
It's 20, in Title V, it's 20 feet for a pool on a septic system,
Okay,
right? Barry, 20 feet.
okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
saying that's your number, but there's a reason, there's a methodology
The
behind it.
reason, the
That's
reason
so-
behind
Why?
it,
It gives you, exactly right, it just gives you a reference.
the reason behind it, if the pool leaks, it doesn't go out, that buffer gives you, it doesn't get into the system to interrupt the system.
Perfect, perfect.
Same with,
Okay,
I think we could use that as a,
right.
Sounds good.
Define area of non-disturbance. What size around the burial site?
My thought was this, a 4
to 12,
a
10 by
4 by
12?
8 is a standard burial plot. Well, we want to go further than that, so we're not digging and disrupting completely arbitrary. There's no guideline, there's no standard you're going to be able to pull upon on that.
Four by eight's fine.
I think the 4x8
4 by
is a
8's
good
fine.
starting.
4 by 8 is a traditional.
Right.
Yeah,
That,
that's
that's not,
fine.
that's not an area of non-disturbance, that's just the
That's just
plot
the
itself.
plot.
Now, what beyond that is the area,
Have an area beyond that that should not be disturbed.
area of non-disturbance.
What would be a
why-
reason for that? What do you think would be a reason for that, for non-disturbance of larger area? Any thoughts, anyone?
Charlie, do you have any thoughts on that? Why we would not want to have this?
Couple of feet on each side, yeah, so, on each end, yeah.
It gives you, so you're not disturbing what might,
Each by
I mean,
10 by
a-
12.
I think it's more just a realistic safety factor. In other words, to not disturb the,
That's all
Yeah.
10 by
the thought
12?
was.
10 by
There's going to be
12.
some,
yeah.
a
By
full
12.
10 by 12.
For now, I mean, we might
What
think
is it?
more of it. 10 by 12, we might
Okay.
think about it some
Fine.
more and when it comes back to us in,
Yep.
in print.
Yep.
Who is responsible for ongoing maintenance? The landowner,
Yeah.
right? The landowner, yeah. What type of plot markers are allowed? Just in-ground,
Flat mark,
flat,
Horizontal,
you know.
just horizontal markers.
right, flat, yeah.
Similar to the, like the National Cemetery.
Yes,
that
right,
sort
born,
of thing.
yeah. Material,
Flat meaning
You could mow,
at grade, flush with.
you could mow right over it.
flush to the
Right.
Is
ground.
that what you're, that's what you're saying, right? Yeah.
So, what, it would be stone or some kind
The
of,
marker?
yeah, or metal? Could be
No, I think should be permanent, don't you think? It should be something permanent,
permanent would be a iron marker, but
would be.
I don't
It's not
care.
going to degrade, or iron would
Stone?
degrade.
Yeah, it could
I would
rot.
say
So
stone.
stone?
Yeah.
Okay, stone, some type of stone,
Either
natural stone.
concrete or stone,
Oh, concrete?
yeah.
Do we need to designate a material?
Well, these are considerations that Jay has proposed we answer, so we're trying to answer them. If you think not, just say that. You don't think it matters.
Well, I'm,
Plastic, you want somebody to have a plastic one?
doesn't make a bit of difference to me,
Right.
really.
I kind of think the
Somebody
next
uses-
homeowner may want to know where this is,
Yes,
perhaps.
and I think there needs to be some sort of
I
marker.
think there should be a permanent marker there.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Right. So it should be, I think, a stone material. That'd be the safest.
Just to get started, you
Sure.
okay, just
Yeah,
saying that?
that's fine.
Yeah, okay, okay. Is an abutter notification required? Yes. The same way we require abutters to be notified for other kinds of
I
issues.
don't know why they have to be certified, though.
It was just
Letter, certified, they don't
Make-
usually.
to make sure that they are,
Just want to
it would
make
just
sure
be to
we
make
have
sure
proof
that
that they were
they,
notified.
gee, I didn't know, I never got
Letter
that
from them
letter.
would be
That was
fine.
Well, he
all.
brought in the signed responses from the letter.
There's nothing that says he had to do that. There's no, he just did that on his own proactively.
Well, I know, but then,
The certified one means that he's going to send it through the mail certified,
Right.
the mailman gets it to their house, they sign it.
right,
I'm not saying Mr. McCurdy just wrote something and brought it in. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he didn't.
do
I'm
we
sure-
usually require that?
For like septics, like variances, yes.
Yes,
Certified
okay,
letters
then
all
all
the time.
right, certified letter to abutters.
Like I sent the Wilson certified letters.
Right.
Because I knew, well, once I got it back, I knew that they were notified,
Right.
so.
Okay,
So
who's
what-
responsible for, I'm sorry.
What happens to that certified letter? Okay, it goes out. Now,
I've
what
seen them bring
what are
back
we
the green,
requiring?
the green cards, right? Aren't they green that say that it's been?
Mirror,
Yes,
I've seen them come
Right.
back and be handed in.
that they received it.
That
Now, does
they-
that,
That they did send the letter out to the.
That gives them the notification that
Right.
something's gonna happen, and if they want to appeal it or,
They need to do so by,
right, that definitely has to be part of it. They'll have the opportunity to come here and give their reasons for saying yes or no. I mean, that's crucial for the public.
right. So in the application process, there would be here, the individual, the public is allowed to come in, abutters, or anyone actually, but they can come in and appear before the board in support or in an objection. Bless you.
and if we needed to, we could have a sample, a butter
Yes.
notification
Yeah.
in the
It's
policy.
part of the guideline to give someone who who wants to do all this, copies, so they don't have to
Hasn't dealt with bureaucracy
creatively
like this.
write something, yeah.
Just have them
good.
fill in the address and stuff like that and
Thank you,
location.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the date. Who is responsible for witnessing the burial? And that was just a question. Should there be somebody?
Barry. We'll have
Well,
Barry.
actually, the funeral directors they have to witness in, like in cemeteries, they have to witness
But this
it.
isn't a cemetery.
That's why it was brought up, who would witness it.
Okay, so,
I don't think the cemetery directors or the funeral homes are gonna
no, they're not going to be involved.
excited about this, so.
No, they're not going to be involved. We know that. So
We would need a witness.
we would?
I think we should.
Well, who would witness it? Would we take turns as Board of Health members?
I think that falls on the staff.
Agent of
On
the
the
health
what?
I
department.
think it falls on the
agent.
staff.
A
I
health
think it falls-
agent.
a member of the staff.
So a
There's no-
Health Department staff member would witness the burial? Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yes? Don't you think there should be some?
Okay.
To say that it followed your regulations.
Right, they have something in front of them, here are the 5 things, are they doing it or not doing it, for sure. It's a big responsibility. This is a delicate issue for a family or for whatever.
Sure. I mean, yeah, we do this with the title, that's, the analogy maybe is poor, but an engineer goes out to witness the Title V, the inspection, and all that, and they certify, they give us a certified letter that in fact, yes, it was built in accordance with the engineered plans.
Okay.
Someone's going to have to say, yeah, I think it falls on someone in the staff.
That's some accountability there, then. Okay, so then one of the other additional things were the definitions, but you can do that,
I'll
Jay,
do
because
that.
that's already in much of the state material. Okay, and then another addition that we had to do with communicable diseases, and we need to hear from the Water Department's consultant on that.
I have asked, I will ask again. Hill has been on the request. I had a meeting with Lori. I will ask again.
She won't give you the name of the consultant?
I just said, could you in fact connect, and it was to connect Hillard with that water consultant.
Because we've had this discussion about this, a lot of discussion about this.
I can go back to when the email came
Have
out.
the concerns
You were on
in
that
general
email.
that this consultant does.
Exactly.
But we want to hear from him because we want to be evidence-based, scientific information.
I will ask again.
That brings up another point. How deep are we?
Well, that's a state regulation. That has to be at least a minimum of 3 feet and 4 feet above the water table.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's-
state has
That's
that.
one of the few.
That,
Yeah, that's been
I think
decided.
that answers your
That's not up to us.
contagious disease issue. I think that if we observe those regulations, that would take care of any concerns about.
And we, I think, in general, don't have a lot of concerns about that specifically.
Right.
But the Water Department, unfortunately, has raised this issue
Do they have any basis
as
for
a
that?
no-go, basically.
Yeah, I'm wondering what their basis is for that.
Right, and that's what we'd like to know.
I think I'm almost saying it verbatim. It says they wanted to err on the side of caution, precautionary, and that was all. There wasn't a scientific, there wasn't a epidemiology to it or, a calculus to it. They didn't have that. It was very generic. I think you might have all seen it. There are microorganisms, there are things that viruses that could possibly be. It was just, and this is our water supply. That was it. But Hillard has asked, and I have asked for Hillard to connect them, and I will do that again tomorrow.
I
Yeah,
would
and I
hope,
think if we observed, as Barry said, the water table, et cetera, that's not going to be an issue.
and all of these other considerations, I think, should be
Right.
showing that, this is not a concern.
We're not going to have the cause of death in all these people, nor do we have any cemetery. Not everyone has an autopsy with tox studies or
right,
anything.
right.
You don't know, very often death certificates say cardiopulmonary arrest.
Right.
That's the last thing, with nothing else above it.
Okay,
But I think you're right, just about the distances and so on.
so we also added the material for the coffin.
Yep.
And that should be.
That's in DEP regulations, actually.
Okay,
It talks
so
about.
that's answered.
I
What
can,
is
I
that
can,
specifically?
That said
it's
a wicker
biodegradable.
basket, it said a shroud. DEP had certain regulations. Now, did it list, it wasn't an exhaustive list. I'm going from memory here, but it was like 3 or 4 things, maybe more, a few more, but it delineated what is allowable. They'd addressed it. Yep.
I think biodegradable is something that should be in there.
That's a catchphrase, but then they gave some
And it-
examples.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. So what were
Would
the
there be
other?
anything about the fill that goes into the, around the coffin? Do you think that's an issue?
I don't
I
think so.
think they put the, what, you mean, to have some other material,
Kind of a, pardon?
like the material, when you
Well, it
dig the
can't be
hole.
all clay, for example, or.
Oh, okay,
you know,
hadn't thought of that.
Sort of thing.
Okay.
I mean,
Why?
Well,
because
isn't there,
clay's not gonna really
For us.
drain at all.
doesn't the state require a comprehensive
Soil evaluation.
evaluation?
Okay.
So
And what does it say then? What does it say about the results?
Hydrogeological study, that is, and that you send that on to DEP, and
that's
they
what
evaluate that.
say yes or no?
I didn't include that. Do you want a hydrogeological study on that?
Well, that's part of,
If it's
that-
required.
that's one of the original ones anyway, from the state.
What's that you say?
Mr. McGurty
study.
did provide that.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. No question he did.
Yeah, okay, so then
State point
that
of
will
view.
be required.
Some of them we're going to lift from DEP, some will lift from the state.
Right,
This is now specific to
Right.
Big Yarmouth.
okay.
I think that should address the water department's concerns, too.
I don't know.
is that in reference to number 2, deep? Is that a typo? Is that supposed to say DEP?
No, I didn't know.
No, DPW.
Is DPW our water supplier?
Our
Oh,
department.
okay.
The water supplier, and I just pulled that from DEP saying, hey, you should, a good idea, and they don't say specifically, but they should get recommendation from the supplier, the local water supplier, I think they refer to it.
Speaking, I mean, you just think about the water department. I mean, there's no ban on pouring, Roundup into our soil, right into our aquifer.
Yep,
So, I mean, that's straightforward. I mean, it's been documented in the science, it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
It really is not gonna be an issue, I really don't think.
PFAS, we won't even talk about
We could
PFAS.
stretch this out on and on, but I don't think it's gonna be an issue.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And I think, Larry, you brought it up, but it kind of got lost a little bit in the conversation, went bad about 15 minutes ago. This is for home burials green.
Right.
That's the catchphrase.
Period.
Right, period. Can you do a regular burial on your property, things like that?
No,
It's not,
no.
it's not being addressed here. This is green burials
No.
on a property.
Right.
And here are the guidelines. This is the glossary for it. This is what is required.
burial,
Coming
right.
for green burial.
Right.
Okay?
Will you include a section that states an applicant has the opportunity to apply for a variance from some of the?
There's definitely going to, because there's going to be a lot of terminology. In all sanitary,
Right.
they all have
Boilerplate.
words like adequate, sufficient, things of that nature. And it gives latitude and flexibility for the board to decide. There's going to be part of that. Yep, there would be that.
I mean, I think it should be stipulated that it's final approval by the Board of Health.
Yes.
For each case.
Right,
Actually, final approvals by the selectmen.
right.
Like, well, I mean, yeah.
But you're a step along the way.
Recommendation by the Board of Health.
You're a step along the way.
right.
The final is, the governing body, they call it, of the local town.
Okay, anything else?
You may have more as you start to go over this. There's a starting point.
Okay,
I'm sorry it took that way to get that way, but this is helpful. This is helpful. It starts to shape it.
Next.
anything else you can think of, Barry?
An as-built,
As built?
yeah, like a plot plan of where it actually is.
Plot
That's
plan,
part of
definitely.
part
I
of the
think that's-
deed.
That's in DEP regulations. It's actually on the deed.
Yeah, so we have those, a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, there is some good stuff from DEP that
Right.
we'll build upon, so.
Exactly, incorporate, yep.
Yeah, no, being a plot plan, this is going to show up on the deed. It'll be on there.
What else do we have going here on this?
have a starting point.
Okay, good.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Plastic reduction bylaw.
Yeah, number 5 here, discussion, and in the packet, there's a special town meeting warrant, December 9th. Specifically, at least one of the articles will be brought up there. Mention something on it?
Yeah, well, I would, just to simply say that on the 9th of December, you're also going to hear a little bit of the Cranberry Bog. That's another piece that you're going to hear.
And these are the same people, right?
Same individual, I know. Same individual. So what the town administrator has asked, and again, there's been a series of meetings with the chamber and the business community, of how do we accomplish, not to change the goal, but to change the path to getting there. And the town administrator has asked to push this back 1 year, giving probably 4 or 5 months, or somewhat of a time frame to reshape it's very broad ranging, how the plastic reduction bylaw is written, to give it more specifics, just as 1 through 7 plastics are to be eliminated. They're going to give a little bit a clear definition and education, and that it would be implemented on January 1st of 26. That's what the petition that you have in front of you, and that'll be at the town meeting on the 9th. It's a special town meeting on the 9th.
Now, it didn't say anything about, in the meantime, there would be a group that is formed to look at.
That hasn't been,
It doesn't say that. Is that happening or not?
It does. There's a draft of about half a dozen, actually, a Board of Health. Now that you say that, I've seen a draft, and I can send that to you. Actually, because you, Mary, because you were on the wastewater, your name had been put forward. But there's about I'm going to say a list of about 10 individuals, business community, chamber, a representative from the selectmen, select board.
Good, but that was addressed.
It isn't finalized, but there is a list.
It is going to
Myself is on
happen.
it.
It's not just that we're putting the date off until the 26th.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's all the article on the warrant is saying, that
It
it's
is.
going to be postponed until the 26th,
26.
2026.
And in that interim, a policy.
Right.
Better defined.
Right.
It'd be difficult to enforce the way it is right now.
Right, no, I understand,
yeah.
but I'm just saying it doesn't say that, but it is going to happen.
It says in
Okay.
the explanation that the delay in implementation will allow the community to work together with food service establishments and the chamber to examine feasible alternatives. It doesn't specifically mention the
But at
action
least
group,
it
which would
says
be
something.
nice, but it does say something.
Okay,
There is a list that's being circulated now.
okay.
and who is running that committee?
Is it the person that came forward and offered to lead it?
No, she would probably be on it. He's a representative on that. It's probably going to fall into this office. It's probably going to have to be I haven't been told, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're asking the health office to bring this committee together.
So the select board? You mean, okay.
Their discussion had a lot to do with that this was voted on initially, this is back in 2023, April or May, that it was passed. So the select board had some concerns about reversing the vote, essentially. So that's what really the essence of this will be.
Giving more time.
Yeah, the select board, most of the members were concerned about that.
It had already been.
Yes, and if it, unless the public voted, no, we want to keep it as is, then they would, they would go along with what the public has voted on. I mean,
Right.
that was consensus. Do you agree? I mean, you were there with me.
Hillard, you articulate that fine. That's exactly, it's very difficult to put a select board in a position of reversing what the community has voted for. You
Amen.
have to be very careful. And this board had the same concern.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And rightfully so. To
Right.
say, wait, no, okay, wait a minute. But is it thoughtful? How this was done, if you remember, that's not how typical public policy is done. It was put forward as a citizen's petition, very vague, non-specific, very difficult to enforce. It did pass, but to pull back to say, wait, there's a better way to get there, incrementally, achievable, measurable, And that's the goal, that's to say, but how that was written is very broad range. You all read that. It'd be very difficult to look at. I don't even know that we could educate a small business or a coffee shop, the big retailer. It'd be difficult for us to enforce that, to even interpret that, what that means. It's the 7 types of plastic. They can't be, well, no, I think we have to, and I carry with me, this is just one, the Falmouth, but there's a number of different communities that are working their way through this now. And there are variances that they may come to the board here and ask for, well, there is no suitable alternative, biodegradable. Could we get a variance on, a dispenser for cream cheese? We don't have anything else that can hold the product, its integrity, the way it needs to be and convenient for the consumer. So there's things like that. That's all going to have to be part of this. And it'll take some time. But it isn't just kick down the road, same regulation a year from now. That's not the intent by any means.
Any other comments on that? We did discuss the minutes, but I guess we didn't vote on accepting it. There's some possible edits that need to be made or not? Mary, you want to edit anything or not?
Monique has a,
So, I agree with what you're saying, but the minutes were written as according to how they were said on the video. So are we editing what was said or the meaning of what was said?
Well, the first one was that I didn't hear Jay say that the policy was the responsibility of the board to do. I didn't hear him say that in the meeting.
It was on the video. He didn't say that specifically, but I did put a quote in there of what he said.
Okay, what did he say?
Right there where he said that Barry, Town Council, and himself is available to provide any relevant information to the board in making the decision, but the final bylaw would remain within the board's responsibility.
Okay, and to me, that means to pass, to approve.
Absolutely. You vote on this.
Right.
It's my responsibility to craft this for you to look at.
Okay.
You filled in a lot of blanks tonight
Okay.
for that.
Okay.
It's the staff's responsibility, and mine specifically, to give it to the board, to amend it, and then adjust it, and then actually then vote for it. And you've done this with tobacco. You've done this with other regulations.
Right.
It's your policy. I haven't been appointed to the board. You folks are.
And then I just wanted to have the additional considerations that we had added to Jay's list of 13 specifically mentioned. And I'll email them to you because right now I don't have I thought I grabbed it when I left the house. Okay.
I just didn't add them to the
Okay,
minute.
thank you. Because again, that added to what you needed from us. If we're saying these are some considerations that we have, then you need us to talk about it some more. And then the Zone 2, it wasn't stated that I had requested that research be done whether or not there could be an exception or variance to the Zone 2. That was answered tonight. The answer's no, but I had asked that question. So that's what I have.
Okay.
Okay. So I move that we accept the minutes of the November 4th Board of Health meeting.
The second to the
Those
motion?
Second.
comments.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? I'm abstaining, I wasn't there. So all in favor of passing the minutes? Say
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes, fine. So it's old new business, number 7 there. Anyone?
I just asked, Mary sent on about vaping, and you have that in front of you. I thought,
Right.
fantastic. I did see it on the news. I've read a couple things on it, but this was very helpful, what
Yeah.
you said
Good.
concerning it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That it is a concern. When we worked with Dr. Spillane back, a couple of years ago, he said, he said, my background initially was chemistry, and he said, if you are inhaling hot anything, he said, I'm just certain it's doing something to your lungs. So, from the beginning, people have been saying this is just simply not a solution that it is risk-free. I have one comment. I had mentioned about RAC, and indeed, this evening, I had to leave the meeting early to make this meeting. One of the things that was, that they didn't completely discuss was a handout that they distributed with the meeting agenda on the pumping station number 2, and it's kind of a question and answer. So I'd be happy to send that out to you all. It's on my email.
Okay.
And because it's exhaustive, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting some questions from the community about the issue. I think that it's probably all over social media, and
It
people
is.
are.
That's in response to
Yeah.
social media questions.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
you're absolutely right.
Okay, so I'll send that out. The second thing about RAC is, right now, what I've been doing is coming to the town hall and sitting in my car and zooming in to the RAC meeting so that I can be here in time to get to the Board of Health meeting. And when I had looked into the possibility of my being able to come into the town hall and sit with my iPad and do that, I was told that wasn't possible. I would like for that to be made possible for me, because I don't want to have to sit out in the car in the cold. And also the last 2 meetings, I've been kicked out of the meeting. I don't know what's the problem with the connection, and then I have to get back in. The microphone that they have for the meeting, not everyone is able to speak into it as well as others, so some of what is going on is practically indecipherable. But I'm thinking that if I could come in here and sit with somebody's equipment, I don't care, it doesn't have to be mine, and then I can zoom into the RAC meeting, then I could be a little bit more comfortable doing that. And I did let the chairman know that our meeting times had been changed to 5, so that I would have to leave if the RAC meeting went on beyond 5.
Mary, can I just ask, I'll talk to IT tomorrow on this. Do they coincide completely, the first and the third?
Yes, they have.
They're exactly that. Okay, so.
And for a while, they changed it, and then they moved back to it, and I think it was, and right now, they meet at the DPW building, so,
And your hope is would you still, just so logistic-wise, you said, well, we could provide an iPad or somewhere for you. You wanted to come here, listen to the meetings, and then segue right into the Board of Health meetings.
instead of sitting out in the parking lot, in the cold and the dark now.
Yeah, but you're not down at DPW doing this. You want to be here.
Yes,
Come in.
because there's not enough time to get from.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
Who told you couldn't do it here?
I'm sorry?
Who told you couldn't do it here, if I might ask?
IT,
Okay.
that there's no way to do it. So it might have been because I was talking about my own personal equipment, and maybe I just need to use somebody that's part of the system. I don't know, but I would like for someone to find out if I can't
I'll
do
find an
that
answer.
in the
That seems solvable.
lighted up area, warm. Thank you.
What a racket, it's a Zoom call, isn't it? Is it
Yeah,
just,
I
it's
don't
a Zoom
understand why
link.
that's
What-
a
Well,
problem.
no, I mean, it's in person.
No.
To zoom
But
into
it's Zoom in on a meeting, it's not something behind a firewall, it's a Zoom meeting, right? I'm going to find out more.
Right.
We're going to get you warm, okay? Appreciate the effort you've been going through, that's for sure. Any other old and new business?
I have some, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. The Health Department has given out just this year probably close to 20,000 tests, not kits, but tests. Like some of them have 2 in a box, some have 5 in a box. It's a high demand. I didn't know if I could get more. I reached out to my state guy, and Normally I get like 5 to 8 cases at a time. I actually bumped it up to 12 cases this time. So hopefully in the next few days, sometime this week, we'll be getting a lot more free COVID test kits. We put them upstairs, we put them in down here, we give them to the senior center, we give them to the local libraries also. So we do distribute them throughout the town.
Good.
So.
Anything else? Anyone? No. Number 8, adjournment. Come on.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jay, for putting up with us.
Very helpful. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Are you kidding? You're helping tremendously.
Hey, good luck tomorrow. Yeah.
Recording stopped.
Yes.
You saw what's on display about these two brothers.
Charlie, need your cane?
And they had.
Need your cane?
I don't know who was
Want
there
your cane?
from the bog, but they had people from the bog there that.
See, you don't need
and-
that thing after all.
And that was part of the garble and all that I didn't. They were sitting back from the table.
Did you get to see the visual, the picture of what